The Trade is brought to you by Vantage Markets, delivering one of Australia's most trusted and award-winning trading experiences. Explore smart trading at vantagemarkets.com.au.
12th of May, wonderful to be here with you for The Trade. Before we get to my expert guest, let's take a look at what's making headlines. And the headlines that traders are watching in the US and China ended high-stakes trade talks on a positive note, with US officials touting a deal to reduce the US trade deficit, while Chinese officials said the sides had reached an important consensus and agreed to launch another new economic dialogue. The Indian military sent a hotline message to Pakistan about violations of a ceasefire agreed to this week and informed it of New Delhi's intent to respond if it was repeated. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said that he is starting to doubt that Ukraine will reach a ceasefire deal with Russia, and he urged Ukraine to meet with Russian officials in Turkey on Thursday to negotiate. US President Donald Trump as well saying that he will sign an executive order to cut prescription prices to the level paid by other high-income countries, an amount he put at between 30% and 80% less. Well, let's get across the technicals, shall we, for some key markets and perhaps a stock or two. Michael Gable from Fairmont Equities joins me now. Michael, nice to see you.
Thank you.
So we had a lower finish on Wall Street on Friday. What are the charts telling us about the S&P 500?
Overall it still looks good. It bounced off the 200-week moving average back in April, and at the moment it's just sort of stalling at these levels. So not much has changed since we last spoke. That blue line is the 200-day moving average. So this is a daily chart of the S&P 500. It's now, what used to be support is now providing a bit of resistance. Yeah. So, we just have to sort of see how it reacts from here. So far, we're not getting a big sell-off. Futures are up as we speak because of this news of a deal between the US and China. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens tonight if the S&P 500 can get back above that line. But essentially, it's the 200-day moving average, closely watched. It'll be a big positive if we get back above that line pretty soon. So
that if it punches above that blue line, the 200-day moving average, then that would indicate it's going to run higher.
Yeah, because it's closely watched. A lot of sort of money managers will feel like, okay, we've now got the market back above that line. Markets should move higher. Then you start to see more money start to get allocated to markets, and any short positions that are still lingering will feel prompted to close off, so you get some renewed buying. So, a bit of a standoffish situation at the moment while we're hugging that line, but a break above that blue line would be a further positive.
So wondering about the S&P ASX 200 as well, because comfortably sitting at 8,266 today. So, yep. Well cleared that psychological 8,000 level and really staying above it as well. So does that, what are the blue lines there that you've drawn on?
Yeah, so this is a weekly chart of our market. So, when we were talking early last year, we spoke about that resistance line near 7,600, and the break above that was a positive. So it's just very interesting to see that during the recent weakness, our market, it did dip under that line, but on a weekly closing basis, it quickly bounced back and finished above that blue line, and since then it's almost been one-way traffic. Market's been heading up. So look, the overall picture for our market is still good. We've made up a lot of ground, so I can understand that it's hard to chase some stocks here, but I think the fact that we've bounced so hard off those lows overall is a positive sign. So, if our market was still hanging around the mid 7,000s, you'd be a bit concerned. But it's a great situation. We're above 8,000. can we dip back under 8,000 again? Yeah, sure, but the overall picture here I think is looking positive for our market. So any sort of dips that you get along the way I think are buying opportunities.
All right, well, last week when we spoke, we had a chat about CBA, poster child for, well, some say over-exuberance in the banking sector. Others say, justify when you look at the weight of money that's coming in behind it. What have we seen lately? I mean, higher again today.
Yep. Yeah, the way it looks at the moment, it does look as though it wants to head higher. It's trading really well. I mean, with everything that's happened in the broader market, as we know, I mean, CBA was punching to new highs only a couple of weeks ago. So what I find really interesting is the way it's behaving around that previous high that it made in February. So I've got a blue line there to show the previous high from CBA on a closing basis. So the fact that it got sold off in February, March, it's rallied all the way back to that old high. Now, of course, you'd expect with everything going on with the headlines, you're seeing your stock hit back, get back to those old highs. You'd encounter a bit of selling. So obviously there's investors out there thinking, great, CBA back above 160, close to the old high, I'm going to sell it. But what I've circled there is the price action over the past couple of weeks. This is a daily chart. So the fact that it's managed to hold in there is, it's a big positive. I mean, if CBA going back to its old high in a market that's got a lot of uncertainty, if there was a lack of buying pressure, CBA would be back near 150 again. You'd expect a lot of profit taking up there, but it just isn't happening. So it just shows us that there is still a big wall of buying for CBA, and I think it's just a matter of time until it gets going again and just trends in the 170s.
And this is why you say, technical analysts say, follow the price action. I mean, that's right. Signals.
I mean, CBA 12 months ago in close to $100 was a sell for all the analysts.
We'll leave that there. Get to another. Is there another chart that's sort of blowing your socks off right now that you think you could see, some good gains being made in the future?
Yeah, look, I've brought a couple of other charts, Fortescue and Sol Pattinson.
Okay,
so
maybe start with Fortescue.
For different reasons.
Yeah, okay.
So Fortescue's one that has been heavily sold off. But again, looking back at a bigger picture, it does look like it's bounced off a very major support level there. So, with commodities, they're cyclical. Good time to buy is when everybody hates them, and that has been the case with the commodity sector recently. But these major levels here around sort of $14 to $15, which I'm indicating with the blue lines. We've seen some very good buying come in for Fortescue. Obviously, sentiment will start to improve with the headlines we're getting between the US and China. So I think this is a really good level for it if you're looking to pick it up. I mean, BHP is looking quite bullish as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then you mentioned Washington H. Soul Patts, which quite a different beast than CBA and Fortescue. I haven't been paying attention to the price action in Washington H. Soul Patts, but I can see they're pretty range bound. Is that what you're showing us?
Yeah. So this one also looks like a good buy, but sort of for the opposite reason of Fortescue. So the main reason is this is sort of like CBA in a way. It's just held up so well during the recent sell-off. So investors in Soul Patts not interested in dumping their shares during the recent sell-off. That's a bullish sign. And as you mentioned, Nadine, it's been range bound for a couple of years there, and despite everything happening in the market, it's broken out of that range, and that's what I've circled there. You should end up with a decent rally. I think it'll trade into the 40s over the next few months. So this also looks like a good buying opportunity.
I'm going to stop us there because we've had all positivity so far. Nice to see you, Michael, on a Monday. I like what you bring to the table. Michael Gable from Fairmont Equities. So S&P 500 coming up to resistance. We'll watch it at that 200-day moving average. The S&P ASX 200 bounced nicely, reckons it should head higher. Then you've heard analysis of CBA, Fortescue, and Washington H. Soul Patts. So get your pens, get your pencils out, and take a look at the charts yourself. That is the trade for this Monday. We'll see you for the same tomorrow.
The Trade was brought to you by Vantage Markets, delivering one of Australia's most trusted and award-winning trading experiences. Explore smart trading at vantagemarkets.com.au.